This is a toy spot on the Marvel Universe 25th anniversary of Secret Wars. This is the comic 2-pack featuring both the black costume Spider-Man as well as the Master of Magnetism, Magneto. This 2-pack includes the Secret Wars issue number 8. As you can see, that features black costume Spider-Man on the front. 8 in a 12-issue limited series. Got a nice picture of both the black costume Spider-Man as well as Magneto down below. Marvel Universe comic packs. On the back of the package, the other figures in this set, this wave. We've got issue number 8 with the mentioned Spider-Man and Magneto. We've got issue number 4 with the Green Hulk as well as Cyclops. And finally, we've got issue 7 with Iron Man and Spider-Woman. The only other figures pack I saw, actually, where I picked this up was at Toys R Us. The other set I saw was the Iron Man and Spider-Woman. No sign, really, of the Green Hulk and the Cyclops, but you can collect all 12. They read up down below, celebrating the 25th anniversary of the greatest crossover event of all time. After an all-out assault on the villain's base of operations, Spider-Man finds his costume all but destroyed. As the dust of the massive battle settles, however, he discovers a strange alien machine that appears to generate a new costume. And he rejoins his fellow heroes sporting a wild new look. Meanwhile, Magneto and the X-Men keep watch over the mighty Galactus, alert for any hint that he has begun the deadly process of destroying the very world on which they stand. So that's packaging on the 2-pack featuring both Magneto and Spider-Man. What we'll do is we'll get this package opened up and we will have ourselves a better look at the 2 figures. Stay tuned. And as already mentioned, it does come with number 8 in a 12-issue limited series. You look at the very last page, down below, you see Spider-Man. What the heck is that? And why is it making my spider sense tingle? Maybe I better get rid of it. Hey! It's going up my arm. What's this stuff? And boom! Right there. That's the first appearance of the symbiote black costume Spider-Man. A very iconic panel. So we'll just move that out of the way, and we'll have ourselves a better look at the 2 figures. I think the biggest thing I have issue-wise with the 2 figures is the scale. If we compare the 2 figures, you would imagine really that Magneto would be taller than the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Instead, he is actually shorter, which doesn't quite make sense, doesn't quite gel really. Magneto should be, a little bit taller, but no, he is actually shorter, which is a bit of a drawback. I guess chalk it up to the fact that Spider-Man has a longer torso. It works for Spider-Man. It really is ideal that Spider-Man has the longer body, but it shouldn't mean at the cost that the Magneto is so much shorter. We'll put Spider-Man down just for a second. We'll look first at Magneto. The real reason I bought the set was for the black costume Spider-Man. But the Magneto actually is pretty nice. I do like the face on him quite a bit. Wearing his iconic Magneto costume and helmet. Now, while I'm not 100% warmed up to Marvel Universe still, it's been really hit or miss for me. One thing I do say, though, for Marvel Universe figures is that the paint application for the most part is really, really nice. Case in point, actually, the Magneto is quite nice with all this darker shading that they've put on his muscle here. One thing I also like is the cape. It's not just a straight cape either, they've actually folded it in, which I think is kind of neat as well. It's a little loose, kind of flops around a bit on the character. I don't know if necessarily one who would collect a Magneto would have a need to remove the cape. So if anything, I think they should have just glued the cape down so that it wouldn't have to go anywhere. The fact that it's just a loose piece that flops around is a bit disappointing. And in the way of his articulation, he has a ball-jointed head. He has ball-jointed shoulders, which unfortunately on this one shoulder, I just can't get it to move very well at all. But the shoulder will allow you to move the figure's arm in and out, back and forth. You can rotate the bicep, you can bend at the elbow, you can finally rotate the hand. They have what looks to be almost like a ball-jointed mid-torso. I don't think because of that they give you any waist articulation, so you basically can just move the figure left and right with the torso. The legs can bend out, they can bend back and forth. No rotation in the thigh. You can bend the knee at 2 points though, and you can rotate the feet up and down, left and right. Despite his size, despite how short he really is, and despite the fact that his cape is a bit of a pain in the you-know-where, Magneto is still a nice figure. For that, I'm going to give Magneto a 7. And really, if you collect the X-Men figures from the Marvel Universe, the Magneto is an ideal figure to add to that collection. So we'll just put him down, and we'll look at the reason why I picked up this set, the black costume Spider-Man. The face, I can't really say face because he's got a mask, but the head actually is quite nicely sculpted, as well as the spider symbol. I'm not a die-hard Marvel Universe fan, so I'm only working from memory, but I'm pretty sure the black costume Spider-Man had been released before in a single card. I do believe I actually remember seeing him. The only downside to the figure was that they made use of a lot of that blue highlights. Very notorious for most black costume Spider-Mans is that they always feel the need to put a lot of the blue highlights in the paint. I found that the Marvel Universe single-carded Spider-Man was a little too much for how much additional blue that they put in the figure. The one reason why I like this set was because they cut that out completely and they just went with a basic standard black body. They didn't do anything else to it. They just went with a basic black body. And I like that, and that's the reason why I actually picked up the set, was just the fact that it is so basic in design. He's still got the white squares on his gloves. Something else, surprisingly, that actually gets omitted on most figures. There are figures that do have it, but there are a lot of figures that have taken this out as well. In the way of his articulation, he has the ball-jointed head, ball-jointed shoulders. You can rotate the bicep, you bend the elbow, you rotate the hand. He has the mid-torso ball joint, so you can get lots of movement. Now, unfortunately, certain parts of when you move the torso, you'll end up cutting the symbol off, but you probably don't have to have him that far back anyways. He's got the leg articulation that allows him to bend back and forth in and out. You can bend the knee at 2 points, you can rotate the foot, and you can also bend it up and down. One thing that this figure has that unfortunately what the Spider-Man Fiercest Foes card, Black Costume Spider-Man, did not have was the additional articulation in the leg or in the foot. Made for a nice figure, but unfortunately without that, it was very hard to get him posed in some more recognizable Spider-Man poses. This figure I think is a nicer of the two figures, but I still like the other one too. I'm very glad though that I picked up this Spider-Man. The joints aren't too bad on him, not too loose, and I don't really have any issues with it. He's a little loose in the leg, but that's not too bad. The Spider-Man here, the Black Costume Spider-Man, I'm going to give an 8.5 to. I'm still not a fan of Marvel Universe. I am warming up slowly to the line, But, I mean, figures such as this are getting me more and more interested. I do really like the Spider-Man. So an 8.5 for the black costume Spider-Man. If I just pick him up here, we're going to give an 8 to Magneto. Worth picking up the set. Unfortunately, at least in Canada, some of the sets are a little expensive. I think this set I picked up on sale. It was about $11 or so dollars. Normally, though, they're anywhere from $17 to $19 a set. Yes, $10 per figure is usually where they sit, but to get a 2-pack for about $20, I think they could knock the cost down a little bit. Shame that the Magneto is a little short, but a great set to pick up nonetheless. Today's Toy Spot, we were looking at the Secret Wars 2-pack of Marvel Universe figures featuring a short but nice Magneto and a very nice black costume Spider-Man. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned for more Toy Spots and other spots to come, and I'll see you guys next time.